You can only be you, baby.
Welcome to another episode of You Can Only Be You podcast. We are your hosts, Jacoby.
And Keisha.
This week, I wanted to bring up things that we've been missing out on quarantine, or what's going to change now that quarantine is over and stepping into. I just looked at theaters being open. I wanted to see that movie Tenet. We kind of watched it on Fire Stick, but not really. With Denzel Washington's son.
Oh, okay.
Tenet, it looked pretty good.
We watched it briefly.
Briefly. And now it's in theaters, and the theaters are open back up. Clubs are getting ready to open back up. Me personally, I don't know if those are things that I was necessarily missing or looking forward to being back open, but more so grocery stores getting back to normal.
What's back to normal?
Well, I'm looking forward to that. You know?
I think they're always going to have social distancing. I think that's going to be a thing.
Well, do you think that's going to be a thing with the mask and
I think masks are going to be around for a while, and I think social distancing is going to be a thing. I think that's something that's going to
be hard to go back to normal.
I think that going forward, as we continue to, adjust to how this virus is and that its existence. And I know everybody's probably waiting on the vaccine, so until that happens, I don't really think that people are not gonna.
You gonna take the vaccine, son?
I don't plan on it.
Okay.
If it's like the flu and you have to get it done every year, probably not. If it's something you get done once, I would consider it. Although, my perspective is that there's always going to be viruses, there's always going to be cooties. And the people that survive today, like me, my grandfather, we're already the strongest of the strongest. We're already the dominant DNA. We've already adapted.
I think personally, when it comes down to it, people build up immunity.
Well, yeah, DNA will
adapt.
DNA will evolve. It will adjust to fight off different viruses to keep people alive, to keep humanity. So I'm like, us that are alive now, imagine our ancestors, imagine all the viruses and things they've already had to fight off and died off from, and mutate. The DNA has mutated and overcome for us to be here.
Right. I feel you.
You see what I'm saying? Imagine. So I'm like, our ancestors have overcome so much of that type of thing for us to even be here.
Right.
This isn't the first virus that's existed. This is the first one that they've been able to document and track this way.
This is the first one that they can track, and this is the first one where social media is involved.
So when the dynamic is different.
Right. So when you have that different dynamic, you have this side, or these sides saying these different things, and people don't know what to believe.
It's always been cooties.
Well, but now it's affecting. Like, I'm thinking about kids. Like, they have to walk into these stores with masks. I mean, that's causing tension within grocery stores and like just being social.
Well, hopefully that's when parenting has to come in at its finest. Is to be able to parent your kids through things like this so that they can adjust properly and have the right mindset.
E-learning is a trip.
I mean, it's definitely a challenge because we don't know what we don't know. Although we all have to think ahead. We have to think short-term pain for long-term gain, and not be so quick for the short-term gain and get ourselves in a pickle.
Pickle?
Yeah, in a jar. Get yourself with the lid on.
Wow.
But I think that's when parenting comes on. But I mean, it's always been cooties. And it's so funny. Think about long time ago, like you said, before there was social media, before people could give everything a one name. There would be different areas of the world where people would be sick, but it'd be a different name or a different type of, description. So you couldn't unify it. Because you couldn't connect. We couldn't connect like we can connect now.
I don't know. So 1920, you had like the Spanish flu.
Right, I'm thinking go back farther or the like
malaria
or something like that. When if you're in this part of the world as opposed to that part of the world, and someone has migrated and traveled, it took maybe a year or so. People they're not knowing it's the same thing. They don't know what's happening from one side of the earth to the next. They didn't know that, but now, like you said with social media, we can give everything.
Not just social media,
technology. We can give everything one name. Everybody can identify with something, and then we say, "Oh, it's all this. This is what it is."
Speaking of technology, Social Dilemma. If you haven't watched that on Netflix,
yeah, watch it. Watch it. It's definitely intense.
It's deep. It makes you think.
It definitely makes you think. If you're not afraid of thinking
on things, using technology, it's crazy though because it's almost a necessary evil.
No, it's not. It's what you make of it.
Well,
it is what you make of it.
It's what you make of it.
It's what you make of it.
As far as I was looking at some things where, as if you have to sign in with either your Facebook or your Google, and if you don't have one of those, you can't really have this app or this interface. It's certain things like that. So it's a necessary evil almost.
It's whatever from my perspective, whatever someone says it is, that's what they made of it.
Yeah.
You get yourself. You got to think ahead, and then you got to look at things in the bigger picture. Not always with just what you need right now, but sometimes you have to broaden that perspective and look at it at a long term. But however you use your phone, however you get caught up in technology, that's what you made of it, and you have to accept that. And you didn't and this bothers you, accept it and change it.
Well, I'm talking about the technology aspect as like e-statements.
You don't have to use them.
Hold on. But certain banks, certain things, they'll give you a discount if you use your
it's still an option.
E-statement, if you get
a paper statement,
absolutely, or invoice, things like that.
Yeah, because they have to pay for
right.
Or
if you sign up for auto pay, which is letting them go directly into your bank account.
Once again, because why would they not make it convenient for you to do something that gives them the most control?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Deep. They're gonna make it.
That's deep.
Yeah, they're gonna make it most convenient for you.
Right.
For them, for a situation that gets them the most control.
Some of them
although
be like
it's
$20.
still optional. It's still optional.
Yeah.
It's still optional. And there's too many baby boomers out there for them not to continue with a system that's a little bit more old school. I mean, there's too many people out there. It's a lot of seniors out there, and a lot of people that are they don't even have cell phones. They only have flip phones. And they don't have smartphones. So what I mean is those options still have to be available.
Did you see the new iPhone? No. What
no, it's not the new iPhone.
It's the Android.
I think it's the Android.
It's the Android. That thing is like almost $2,000. Is it over? It's over? I think it's over.
But it's not a tool. It's an artificial intelligence. It's going to use you. It's to use you.
I don't know about all that.
You ain't. What is the tool? What is the tool? What did they say a tool was? Exactly. But what did they say a tool was? Something that you use. Right. So if you pick up your phone when you don't need it, it's no longer a tool. It's using you.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, but it was crazy. Those were some of the top execs and things like that. They were saying it was still hard for them to break away from the chain.
Yeah, because it's mind control. The people that invented it said it.
It's convenience.
It's mind control. No, it's designed to control.
You can, like they say, some good things because you can still look.
Absolutely.
You can learn anything just for the Google search.
You can learn what they want you to learn because they did say depending on where you live. And different things will become available to you. Different information. So that's not true.
Are you gonna go back to the gym? You think?
Yes.
You think the gym?
I wanted to, but I want to go to a more. I'm not interested in going to a gym where people don't have to wear full clothes. I'm sorry.
But I'm just saying. I think
I don't want to go where people work out in sports bras or no shirts, and I just that's too much.
Right.
I think having a shirt on and some bottoms on would be more suitable environment, especially with everything going on.
I don't think the gyms are gonna actually. Me personally, I'm not gonna. I think I'm gonna return to a gym, but I think it's not gonna be until.
I think more private gyms will become more. They call them boutiques, and more private gyms are going to become more popular going forward.
What thing?
I think that
Clubs
would be like YMCA and stuff. So you got to think clubs would be like your. I think those are still always going to be relevant.
Not necessarily.
But they're called
clubs,
like I can't think of what they're called. I know they're
I-
called
I-
boutiques,
I
a
get
little
what you-
private,
I
a
get
little
what you're saying,
specialized.
But clubs. Like
Yeah,
clubs.
I guess you can call it a club.
Clubs.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we do this over here, just a group of people kicking it around.
Yeah.
And it turns into a.
So I think that's going to become more trendy as opposed to just people wanting to go to a gym with a whole bunch of random different people. I think people are going to want to
Stay in the.
I think
in their
people are
group,
going to
in
stick
the-
in
stay
their own,
social
stay in
circle.
their bubble.
I get what you're saying.
I think
which
which
is crazy.
People are going to want to stay in their bubble.
Which is crazy, but that works at the same time.
It works.
It works.
It works.
Because I think personally, when you are surrounded with people like-minded like yourself, you tend to achieve a little bit more at a faster rate.
Yeah, I mean.
So you speed things like
absolutely.
if y'all.
That's
are
why
all
people
on one
gravitate
page,
towards certain environments because I'm not a big gym club.
Mhm.
I like being in that. I like to kind of be in my own little thing. You know, I like to say hi to people and be nice, but at the same time, I don't necessarily want to be committed to doing certain things with certain people in the gym.
Right. I get
Like,
what
you
you're
know what
saying.
I'm
I get
saying?
what
Like,
you're
I don't
saying.
want to be
Like,
committed to having
we
to
don't
come.
come on Monday. And
Yeah. I don't want to be committed to that. I'm
Yeah,
not that
I
type
get
of
what you're
person.
saying.
I'm not that type
I
of
get what
person.
you're saying.
I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it. I'm sorry.
Like, if we here, we here.
Yeah,
Right,
like,
right,
and I don't
right.
want to be
Right.
like. What if I don't feel like working on that part of my body
Right.
today?
Right.
Because I'm always my motto is you're going to be most productive when you feel like
When you
being
feel like
being
being
most
productive.
productive. Right. So if I don't feel like being productive on say my back,
Right.
then this is not going to work.
Yeah.
Mondays,
I mean,
Tuesday.
me personally, there are some days when I gotta just be like, oh man, I gotta wake up early to work out before work.
Oh, yeah.
But then there are days when I'm off and I'll be like, oh man, I'm not working out till like 2 p.m.
And there you go.
That's when I feel like working out.
Right.
That's
So,
when I feel productive.
That type of club wouldn't probably work for me, but I definitely want to go to a more of a boutique gym, 24-hour, where I can scan in, scan out. It's just small. You know, they only allow so many members. It ain't really like this big chain. It's like privately owned or something like that. That would suit me best.
Yeah.
But I think people are going to stick to their own bubble, and yeah.
Speaking of the bubble, the Clippers choked. The NBA, the Clippers choked. I don't think Kawhi. He did his thing as far as choking, but no, seriously, I don't think he's proven he's a leader. But that's just my 2 cents. The Clippers choked. Go Lakers! I'm a proud Lakers fan. Everybody know that. Lakers and Bulls. We ain't gonna talk about the latter, but your boy won back-to-back MVP. Giannis got booted from the second round though, but I think he need to score, but that's another topic. I know you don't talk sports, so that's kind of
I don't watch him enough to have
enough
dialect.
I'll be chilling.
Bears
won.
I don't have enough dialect.
Bears
exchange.
won today, 2-0.
That's your team.
2-0.
That's
Yeah,
your
I
team.
mean, I ain't got them.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, so sports are making its way back, and
well,
we're
there's no
just
fans.
No
There's
fans.
Virtual fans, which is crazy. Things are going towards a virtual. Like you can now do everything. Is
I
virtual.
don't know. I see.
I mean, some things are still, but I tell you like this. I like some of the things that are going to be pushed back to the front as far as changing with the times. Like, I love the fact you're going to have drive-in movie theaters. Like, I really love that. I grew up with that in Chicago. I grew up going to it with my father.
Well, yeah, that's how the winter is gonna. I said that when this. What did I say when this happened? I said
Those
drive-in theaters are gonna be. I said, didn't I say that?
Yeah.
Like the first thing I said was
concerts are gonna be drive-in. Like, come on, that's
People
gonna
are-
be so dope. Like, but the virtual stuff is kind of like, oh man, like.
because if it's virtual, that means it's being recorded, and you know everything don't need to be recorded. Everything does not need to be documented and recorded. And honestly, if you're documenting and recording everything, how much fun are you having? You're too busy worried about documenting and recording.
Well, I think I think the paper trail is what it's trying to create, right?
Yeah.
But I think
Not a paper trail, it's a digital trail.
It's a digital diary. But I think at the same time that creates a false sense of a different standard, because you're gonna hold someone, because whatever you put on the internet is forever. You're gonna hold someone, like they be talking about this person did this 7 years ago.
And that's not fair.
That's not the same person.
That's not fair, because that's what I'm saying. Everything don't need to be documented. You should be able to. I grew up without that, and I had so much fun, and I'm so glad that none of that stuff got documented, because I got to evolve and grow and mature and not be crucified for just being a human and just learning.
And
like
you have to go through.
Everybody. People don't realize that sometimes people have to go through bad to be good. Everyone has an experience to become who they are. Yeah. And it's nobody's place. Sometimes people have to go through things that other people look at as being like taboo or too much. Mm-hmm. But it's not your life. It's not your existence.
You can only be you.
It's not your existence to do that. So you have to respect the journey, respect the process. Yeah. But I think that I was glad that I didn't have that, because I got to get to this point in my life,
right?
And the other things nobody has a document to say, oh, you did this, I see you did this. People can't Google.
Like you said,
you can't Google me and be like, oh, I see you did all this. Like, can you imagine all these kids being somebody's grandma and your grandkids Googling you and your great grandkids? That's horrible.
We're saying, oh, grandma used
horrible. Horrible. There's some things you don't ever want nobody to look. Some things you think are funny when you're a kid that are definitely not funny when you become an adult. Yeah. And you look back and are mortified. Yeah. And you think
like MySpace names, or like your first email address, like your very first one. Mine was like Punkin Junior 2 or something. Then your MySpace account, it was a Lil Wayne lyric. It was man.
Nobody needs to be going back, and you don't need to have to be having that over your head. I
always think if someone wants to go check my Twitter and be like, oh wow, he thought like this. And when Twitter was like at its peak, I'm talking like 2010, 09, 2010, I was consistently on Twitter, like all the way from 09 to about 2012, consistently, like, and so it'd be crazy if that came back, or some things were brought up, because I'm not the same person. No. I've shared that with you. I looked at an old video.
And can you imagine, but just to be crucified for having experiences that some of us need to have to help us make better choices as we continue to move forward.
Well, yeah, but some of the stuff that I would be,
and you've made better choices.
Is my bullshit.
But it helped you make better choices going forward. You're I mean, if you didn't experience that,
absolutely,
you wouldn't be able to make some of the choices that you.
I always say, a rose need dirt to grow too.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah. So it's just horrible. I think it's definitely like a lot to take in when you have everything documented, and wow, and it's a lot of pressure. I think it's a lot of pressure. And it's a lot of pressure to be raised to want to have everyone to look at you, to grow up to have.
I don't get that.
So you look at kids now. Everybody wants to upload everything, and everybody wants to have YouTube, and everybody wants to put content out.
Shit, we got YouTube.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Everybody wants to put content out. We're adults. So children growing up in this era are being raised to want to put content out, to have everyone to look at them. Mm-hmm. They're walking around posing all the time because everybody's recording so their picture could be taken. So you are growing up now in an environment where you want everyone to look at you. Everyone's looking at you. You want to put things out there for everyone to look at. When it's just like,
and at the same
that's
time,
a lot.
But at the same time, even being an adult, you got to be careful, because somebody will whip out their phone.
That's what I'm saying. I remember when you were on a video, I was looking on Instagram, and I was looking at a story, and I was like, that you're in the background changing your gym clothes, and I'm like, You wasn't even aware that you were being recorded.
Mm-mm. I hope I look good.
And you didn't even.
Did I look good?
That was not the point.
Did I look good?
Yeah, sure. I can't remember.
Sure.
You look great. You know you looked amazing. Amazing. So I think that's a lot for the kids. I don't think kids should be getting cell phones. I don't think that they should have social media. I don't think that they should be allowed to have email addresses or anything like that until they get older. Until they get, no, you don't. No, you don't.
What e-learning?
Then their parents can have it, and they can do it through their parents' email. But until they reach a teenage age, where they're like at least 12 or something, then that's suitable. But having all that stuff at 5 and 4 and 3 and 9 and 8, I mean, like, for real? For real? Why did they need all that? Why did they, I couldn't even talk to, you know what? I couldn't even have my friends call my house. And can you imagine?
You got
kids with their own phones at like 10 on the phone all night talking to people. Like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, I couldn't even have a my mama wouldn't even let nobody call me on the phone like that until I was 14.
I couldn't get any phone calls from females until I was 13.
I was 14 when I could get a boy to call.
I had to be a teenager.
Girls, my homegirls could call and just say, how you know, can you come out?
Right.
But to have a conversation on the phone like I was grown, no. You can't sit on the phone like your mama for 30 minutes, 45 minutes gossiping.
Actually, you're right.
I wasn't allowed to do that.
Because I remember it was 14. You got to get ready to go to high school and all that. Yep.
I was 14.
Yep.
Now you got kids that's
12,
little kids talking on the phone. To who?
Cell phone.
That's not even necessary.
But you know,
your parents ain't up to 12 o'clock at night.
You can track it.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, it definitely serves its purpose. But my point is, it's like you take it off. You don't get to have your phone. You don't get to have your phone no more.
Right.
It's good night.
Right.
It's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Bye. Who talks on the phone that late? You ain't grown. You don't pay no bills.
Right. Oh God, that's how it used to be.
Well, that's why I'm like, why you get to play games? When we had video games came out, you only got to play games to a certain amount of time. Bedtime. Now kids can lay in their bed and play games all night long and be tired. I don't even know why parents think that's okay. I don't even know, because you create I'm like, why is that even okay? Why do parents let their kids do that? Because you scared your child, because you know what? Because in school they were talking about, I'm going to tell your mom, I'm going to call CPS. Your mama did this, your daddy did this, call CPS. Bump that.
You're right.
Man, don't be scared. Don't be scared.
What's CPS?
Child Protective Services.
Oh, where I'm from, that means Chicago Public Schools.
Oh,
like,
Child Protective Services, where they are social services.
We call them DFS.
Okay,
Department of Family Services, something like that.
Department of Family Services.
Yeah.
It might be DFS too. It might be that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's like, why can't y'all? Why would you want your kid to be up having a phone like that? Why would you want your kids to play video games all night? Stop them. Take them away. Good night. Bye. I don't care if you get mad. I don't care if you throw a fit. I don't even care if you tear your shit up, because I'll just throw it away and you won't have nothing. Guess what? Nobody wins.
Now, with the cell phones, I think it has a purpose, but like you said, when it comes past a certain time,
it has its purpose when you're out of the house.
Yeah.
But when you come home, why do you need your phone?
What?
You see your friends at school.
Well, some of it is being.
Didn't you see Sally today at school? Why you need to talk to Sally when you get home?
Some of it is.
You better tell Sally to write you a note.
Some of it, because peer pressure still exists.
And
peer
you know what?
Peer pressure is younger now. That's why.
Because of social media and
but with the e-learning, I think it's going to get back to a sense of family base. Because I think homeschooling is the best.
I always said homeschooling.
When the parents are on the same.
But you got people that ain't gonna have. They're not that ambitious. It's a lot of parents that are not that ambitious.
Yes and no, but it's gonna correct things too. Because if they feel overwhelmed, the parent will then know and have an appreciation for sending their kids to school.
Once again, it depends. If the parent is paying that much attention, every parent is not that ambitious.
Right. Everybody is different.
Right. That's why we have teachers.
Right.
That's why there are teachers. Is because every parent is just not that. Every human being. We all have our gifts and we all have our talents, and some of us are better at educating others than some of us, and that's why we have teachers and educators. So, I mean, we do have to.
You should have been an educator.
I do educate.
I
am an educator. I went to school for educate people on skin, fitness, nutrition is just on a different form. It's on a different form.
You should be a preacher. You should be a preacher.
Okay.
Why
I
not?
preach. We preaching now.
Yeah, we're preaching now.
We preaching now.
Church.
Church.
Hey.
Can only be you.
It's funny. I think always in the back of my head, I think somewhere deep down I was meant to be a preacher.
Who, you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
You
I'm
know,
sure everybody thinks that.
Like my father's side is heavy into preaching. I know your father's side
It is,
too.
but my thing is about preaching. I think that the only thing you can preach to people is experiences, because you're really just giving people hypotheses or theories or perspective. Yeah, so
But some people
but
need
that
to
can
hear
be
it.
enlightening.
But see, some
But
people
it can
need
be
to hear it.
enlightening.
Some people need to hear
Yes,
it.
because we're all wired differently,
Yeah.
and to know and to see a different, I think perspectives can be like art, because it's a different picture, and to see people's different artwork, it's fascinating.
I don't
So
know.
to see different perspectives, but all I'm saying is
Yeah,
preaching
it's
should be.
fascinating.
Preaching should be, I don't know if you can necessarily preach about a higher power, but to preach about things that can help people be inspired to be their best selves, and to be inspired to find them best selves.
Well,
And
that's
to
all
create
it
that,
is. That's
to
all
create
that
their
it
best
is.
selves.
It's a sense of passion and motivation. It's
Yes,
a sense of this is
yes.
where the error was.
Believe
this is what
in
happened,
self.
This is the lowest point. This is the lowest point, and you have faith that it's gonna turn around.
Yeah.
It's just gonna turn around.
But you,
I mean,
but
that's
you
what-
gotta have faith that you can can make it turn around.
Life. I think life has its moments, because when it comes down to it, personal perspective, of course, as we're talking about, life has its peaks and valleys, right? The good always outweigh the bad. It's not many. You just have to understand seasonal.
I just say my motto is don't talk about it, be about it.
Well, yeah.
Don't be scared to live. Don't be scared to live. Don't be scared to fight to live. Don't be scared. Yeah, you gonna hurt. And so what if your body is in pain? That's just that. If you
100%
feel
agree.
if you tired, you gonna be tired. That's just
Well, 100% agree.
Yeah, you gotta
but at
keep
the same
moving
time,
through
you
it.
have to work towards something. You have to pray with your feet. You have to work towards something. But understand that when you pray with your feet, it's gonna be. You can't have sunshine because you want to appreciate. You can't. You gotta have rain. You want to appreciate the sunshine. You gotta have the dirt to grow the rose.
Yes.
And just like that rose, is gonna be sunshine. It's
You
gonna
know
be
what?
rain.
It's like life. Fighting for it's like working out. You know how you build muscles?
Yeah.
And you build muscles
Consistency.
through repetition. It's kind of like you gotta be your own muscle. You gotta build that confidence muscle.
That's what.
And you gotta build that striving muscle, and you just gotta be like, even though it hurt because I gotta get stronger.
Mhm.
And I gotta get stronger, whether my back hurt, my legs hurt, whether my mind hurt, whether my heart hurt. I still gotta get stronger
Yeah.
through that, because it's not gonna always hurt.
That's-
Sometimes it may bother me,
Right.
but
it's
it
gonna
may
be
not.
discomfort.
It may be discomfort,
Yeah.
but it may not. Yes,
It's not hurt.
it's not hurt. It's
a
discomfort.
Now, that's why I fell in love with CrossFit and just working out in general. Of course, it was motivation from one of your ex-coworkers.
I understand. We got another story, so we said that in another one. But move.
Yeah. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
goodness.
I get sidetracked. I don't know. Not real sidetracked, but that's why I fell in love with CrossFit and just working out. And it's the betterment of myself. And I realize it's funny because I tie a lot in with CrossFit in parallel to life, because I always feel like it's you versus the clock, and no one's gonna save you. You have to get through. You have to endure, and you have to conquer. And once it's done, it's not even about. It's not even about being the fast. It's about I did that.
Don't talk about it, be about it. I'm the type of person, I'm like, bettering yourself is, if you want to do it, do it. Don't talk about it, be about it. Find things that make you feel good about you. Don't look for it. I mean, you don't need, if you think something is good, it looks good, why you need somebody else to co-sign that? But that's how I feel. I'm like, what?
Church.
Yeah, you don't need nobody to co-sign that.
We get caught up in preaching.
And then just don't talk about it, be about it.
Mm.
Because I really am a strong believer in that
just do
If
it.
you want to make it happen, if you want it, you can do it. You know I am like that. I'm just like, what do I say? You see me. If I say I want this, what happens? It's there. I'm creating it. I'm gonna create it.
Everybody's the alchemist. You gotta.
I created.
Yeah,
I said I want a greenhouse. I want a garden. I want this. What do we do? Go out there and create that stuff. I say I want this. I want that. I want these plants. I want this fence. What did I do? Create it. Get it. Make it happen. Look for resources.
The greenhouse.
You don't ever talk about what you don't have. You look at what you do have and you make it happen. Because you know I always say, you don't need money. Like if you need resources. Money is a resource, but sometimes there are other resources outside of that money that are just as useful. So it's like if you say, "Oh, I need a new floor. I need money." No, you need tile or wood, or you need some nails.
Or you can have a skill to bargain with a person that has flooring. And
I'll bargain skills in a heartbeat. I'll be like, I can do this
resources.
For this. Resources.
Yeah.
With that being said, we got to be our own resources, and that's how we're going to get through with this.
Left to right.
This is how we are going to continue to evolve through life and evolve through generations, is through creating and maintaining and resources and being there for each other.
And you can only be
You can only be you, baby.